Hello everyone, this is Michael from Integrating Technology in the Curriculum with Dr. Harvey. I just wanted to do a quick screencast to show you some really cool things. I read all the articles and watched the debate, and I got sort of the fundamental idea behind this is online learning going to replace the traditional classroom? I don't think that's going to happen. I think that online learning is definitely going to influence education, but I don't think it's going to replace the traditional campus. Because I still think, that campus is still fundamental to the basic idea of education. I think it's certainly going to, like I said, provide new opportunities, and it's going to be beneficial to people who may not be financially or geographically able to attend a university. But it's not going to replace it altogether. No matter what, in both of those, the online learning and the traditional learning, the learning space is really important, and that's sort of something I got out of it. So when we're looking at online learning, which in this case is a virtual learning space, you have to build that same kind of foundation for students so that they can construct the learning community that is so vital for their education. There's certain characteristics that are important to learning space. It should be easy to use, right? My golden rule is technology should only enhance and never inhibit. So if it's too difficult to use, if it takes too many clicks to do one thing, if I need a manual to get through the class, then something's wrong. It should also be accessible, not only in terms of for people with disabilities who may not be able to see certain things and everything, but also in the sense that it should be able to go on different devices, all that kind of stuff. It should use the different tools available: videos, photos, infographics, interactive quizzes, all of that kind of stuff. It's important to have to incorporate all of that. To me, an effective online learning hub isn't just a bunch of links to PDFs or something. It's a sort of presentation of the actual content in a way that's meaningful and that's going to help guide learning. It should also engage learners. The article by O'Shea referenced another article by a woman named Pitaway, who talks about this engagement framework, which looks at different levels. I found that very important for many reasons, because when you think of engagement, you think of really just answering questions or not just passively learning. In that framework sort of really looks at different levels of engagement, which I really found helpful and interesting. And it should also look professional. If it doesn't look professional, I don't think people are going to really be that interested in it. If you got a chance to look at the big history project, that looks really beautiful. I think that is a big motivation to go on and see what it has to offer, because it just looks cool, it works well, it's very professionally done. And of course, the characteristic, everything else in the ADDIE model of instructional design is important. I'm not going into detail with that. I'm just looking at the physical virtual learning space, which is essential to the success of online learning. So for my virtual learning space, for my actual curriculum, I'm looking at the question of how do you recreate that learning community in an online setting. And so I'm looking at, how do you create a learning space that's going to work well, taking, all of those characteristics and characteristics of the actual history curriculum, which focuses around these three ideas of content delivery, which usually takes the form of lectures in history courses, not always, but a lot of times. Discussions about the content or about primary source documents, and research and writing where students are, interacting with historical documents and using their knowledge to prove what they've learned. I want to show you some cool things, I think. So similar to this big history project, I've created one for my curriculum, sort of a foundation idea. I just want to go over some and show off some important things. So this is the equivalent of a Moodle or a Blackboard site. The reason why I like using this better is because there's a lot more features and a lot more customizations that you can do. And it's a little bit easier to use, I think, than Moodle or Blackboard. So you see here, sort of, this is the home page. You have your access to syllabus for students. They can see their individual class. All the new modules, in this case chapters, are sort of presented here. Click on them. They incorporate, text written by the professor, videos that either can be of the professor explaining something, or other videos. This one's from the Discovery Channel that I found on YouTube. Links to, important documents or any important links. This one's extracts from Columbus's journal. Also, the assessment. Bellini, in his article, talks about the importance of assessment. I found that very important, especially giving feedback in an online setting. In online learning, students are a lot of times responsible for their own learning, so giving them that instant feedback is important. And like creating these kinds of things are really, really easy. And as you see, it gives you that feedback and all of that. Different graphics and all of that. And then this is cool too, for similar to the assessment, in making sure that the professor's seeing that you've gotten that sort of discussion out. And because it's a web page, you can leave comments on it, so students can leave comments down the site and sort of answer this question or other questions. And there's other ways to. I don't have them in here now, but you can have the ability to have like a form, an actual form built in here. Have the ability to create almost like a social media site, which I think would be cool to have that. Not that space we can go and just chat with other people without being graded. Different ways of contacting. If you see down here, this was a free plugin I've installed. It's not available right now, but if you're reading something and a question, you can just chat with the professor right here, not leave the page, and they can get it on an app. It's all that kind of some neat stuff. This, my assumption is that the instructor is going to want to use this. The students are going to want to use this. That there is some sort of resource in place to help the instructor, because this will require a little work. In the feedback from the first post, Tucker had mentioned, well, what happens, you need to have that strong support team, and I can't agree more with that. This whole idea of bringing content online, it's a team effort, in my opinion, and that's not just sort of a self-fulfilling because I'm going to be an instructor or designer, but more so because I think in order to do it well, you need a lot of different expertise to bring it together and make it successful. So you have different theories that using the ADDIE model, obviously, but different the actual instructing theories, learning theories, different methods of instruction, as well as concepts such as web design that are central to online learning. But in terms of the point of view, I think that if I was a student, this kind of taking an actual course that's presented using something like this to get out, and then having a discussion with something like this is Slack, where it's just really easy to type. I can mention certain people. I can create channels for discussion groups. I can send private groups or private messages to people. And the really cool thing is all this is all free, with the exception of having to host the site. But I think it's it has the potential to do a lot. And my expectation is that this kind of a platform, this kind of a online learning space is going to create that learning community that's going to increase the success of student learning in an online setting. So that's my ideas. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave me some feedback. Thank you.